How's it going, everybody? Welcome to We Do Tech. Now, it's been some time since Intel released their Coffee Lake CPUs, and then along with that, the release of the Z370 range of motherboards. But the thing is, the Z370 range was more made for the higher end and unlocked CPUs, not really made for an i3 or i5 gaming system. So if you did go for an i3 or i5 CPU, you had to pair it up with that Z370 board, and price-wise, that didn't really make a lot of sense. But luckily now Intel has released the chipset for their new Q370, H370, H310 and also B360 range. So finally we were able to build more of a budget system with one of these boards to pair up with an i3 or i5 or even a Pentium if you wanted to. But luckily this is where MSI stepped in and they sent over their B360 Gaming Arctic board for me to take a look at and do a review on. And not only that, they're also giving one of these beautiful boards away to one of my South African subscribers. So if you do live in South Africa, all you need to do is click on the first link in the video description, which takes you to the build that I did for that beautiful system over there. So from there, you'll be able to check out the giveaway and possibly win the B360 Gaming Arctic from MSI. And actually, just to my surprise, MSI is pretty much the only company that does white motherboards. There are some here and there, but mostly MSI is the only one with their Arctic range. So big shout out to MSI for helping out all of the people who want to build a white gaming system, because it does look awesome. But now taking a look at the B360 Gaming Arctic, first off, inside the box along with the board, you get the manual with the DVD drivers and just some other papers. You do also get two black SATA cables, the I/O shield, an MSI badge, and then your M.2 screws. Now, as for the design of the board, just like the Arctic name applies, everything is just going to be white with a bit of grey line accents and black connectors to put some contrast on the board. You also get the silver heat spreaders for the south bridge and then also for your VRMs. Now, because this is not an overclockable motherboard, you're not really going to need that crazy huge VRM heat sinks. So the ones the B360 Gaming Arctic has is plenty enough. Now then, it is a 2018, which means you are going to have some RGB. The B360 Gaming Arctic doesn't have any crazy RGB lighting everywhere on the board, but you do get some RGB at the bottom next to the PCI Express ports. You do also get the RGB header at the bottom of the board, which does support 12-volt LED strips. And all of this is controlled by MSI's Mystic lighting, where you are able to link all of your RGB components together to get a cool in-sync lighting effect. Now, as for the CPU socket, it still supports LGA 1151, which is Intel's latest 8th generation range of CPUs. Now, just a quick mention to some of you might not know this, even though it is LGA 1151, it doesn't support the older generation of Intel CPUs. So even though Skylake and Kaby Lake is still running on the LGA 1151, same as Coffee Lake, it doesn't support those CPUs. And then next to the socket, you do get your VRMs, your MOSFETs, you get 7 chokes and then 9 capacitors, which is going to handle all of your voltages, controls, and all of that for your CPU. Now, as for power, you do get your standard 24 pin for your motherboard and then your 8 pin for the CPU. Now then, as for memory, the B360 Gaming Arctic does support a dual channel memory with its 4 DIMMs. It supports a max of 64 gigs of DDR4 memory up to 2666 MHz. Now then, as for the PCI Express ports, you get 2 PCI Express 3.0 16x slots, but the top one is running at full 16x speed and the other one is running at 4x speed. You also get 4 PCI Express 3.0 1x slots running at 1x speed for all of your Wi-Fi cards and all of that. The top PCI Express port features MSI's steel armor, which adds additional durability to the slot for heavier cards. You also get some LED indicators showing the speed at which your PCI Express port is running at. Red is showing 16 times and then white is showing lower than that. Now, something that you see more on mining boards or higher end overclockable boards is the addition of a 6-pin PCI Express power connector. Most people won't really use this, but if you do decide to crossfire, you can use this to give your card a bit more power for overclocking, but for most users that won't really be necessary. Now, along with that, you get a single M.2 slot without a heat spreader for either a SATA or NVMe SSDs, and it even supports Intel Optane memory. The Arctic's M.2 slot does support types of a 2242, 2260, 2280, and then also 22110 type M.2 SSDs. Now, something to take note of is that the M.2 slot does share its PCI Express lanes with the SATA ports. So if you do use the M.2 slot, you will only be able to use 4 of the 5 SATA 3 connections. SATA 1 will be disabled if you do use your M.2 slot. Then taking a look at I/O, you get 2 USB 3.0 type A ports. Next to that, you get a PS2 connection, which for some reason people still use. You do also get your DVI-D and display port. You get a 1 USB 3.1 Gen 2 type C port, 1 USB 3.1 Gen 2 type A port, 2 USB 3.1 Gen 1 type A ports, and a gigabit Ethernet port, and then all of your audio connections. Now then, as for some additional connections on the board, you get a single USB 3.1 Gen 1 header for your front I/O. You also get your easy debug LEDs that will let you know which of your components are giving you some problems and preventing post. And then you get a 7 DC or a PWM fan headers with a 1 doubling as your pump header as well. Then taking a look at the BIOS, you get MSI's Click BIOS 5, which does feature an easy mode and an advanced mode. You are able to check all of your system information, your CPU clock speeds, your memory speeds, your voltages, your boot priority, and so on in the BIOS. Now again, you're not able to overclock your CPU, but you can enable XMP and overclock your memory to a max of 2666 MHz or less, depending on your memory. And then also you can control your fans, set speeds and profiles and all of that, and just a bunch more settings. Now then, some additional software that you can go download from MSI's website is the Command Center, which shows you your system information like temps, voltages, hardware, and more. You're also able to overclock your CPU, but unfortunately, again, the B360 range does not support overclocking. And then you can also control your fans through the Command Center. You do also get your gaming app, which has some pre-programmed modes. You get a gaming mode, your silent mode, and then OC mode. But again, it doesn't support the B360 range. And then you also get your X Boost, which is just a simple way of prioritizing your system usage to specific areas. And then also just some other software that you can go download if you wanted to. Now you might be thinking, what is the performance difference between the B360 Gaming Arctic and a Z370 motherboard? And pretty much the only thing is that, again, the B360 cannot overclock and the memory is locked to that 2666 megahertz. But if you compare using the same non-overclockable CPU and a memory locked at 2666 megahertz, then the performance is pretty much going to be standard across both of the boards. So if you are planning to go for a non-overclockable CPU and slower memory, because price-wise, then of course the B360 Gaming Arctic is going to be perfect for you. You're still going to get all of the performance out of it. It's going to look beautiful, as you guys can see, and you're just going to get everything you would need. So that's pretty much it for my review of the MSI B360 Gaming Arctic. A huge shout out to MSI for sending it over and then also allowing me to do a nice build, and then also giving away one of these B360 Gaming Arctic motherboards to one of my South African subscribers. So if you do live in South Africa, again, just follow the link in the video description, or if you just want to watch a cool time-lapse build, follow the first link in the video description. But otherwise, you can get it on RebelTech if you live in South Africa, and then Amazon if you live overseas. But that's pretty much it. Again, shout out to MSI for sending it over, and I do hope you guys enjoyed it. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will check all of you next time. Cheers, guys.